Why do the players not get any of the revenue from television? So they don't. And explain why, if you can, Caleb.
Well, I mean, technically, that would players still can't get paid by revenue brought in from the college. They get paid in NIL, which is endorsements, and so the revenue paid from the university goes to the schools. And well, they go. The TV revenue goes to the conferences. The conferences divvy it up evenly among the schools. That's why Vanderbilt gets the same amount of money as Alabama from the SEC, which is hilariously laughable, but that's what they do. We Yesterday we talked about the Nick Saban NIL thing, and I saw a bunch of annoying people online. And Dave, I mean, very annoying people. And you see this when it comes to political debates all the time. Do you ever see people take a stand and it's just a virtue signal, but they don't actually they take this grand stand on something, but they don't actually address like the nuances of how to fix a problem. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And yeah, and they do that in Congress all the time. Both sides do that in Congress, and it's so annoying. Like, this is how it should be. Well, this is how it should be. Well, this is how it is, and now we got to figure out how we can address how it is. Everybody yesterday went at Nick Saban for Nick Saban made $93 million coaching in his career. Why is he mad about NIL? I'm like, guys, Nick Saban is not mad about NIL. What he's concerned about is that the whole sport of college football will be sucked dry with the few players who have market value being the only ones in the sport, and everybody else is left out to die. Not die like literally, but figuratively. And he's saying, how do we address that problem? Nick Saban, actually, what went under the radar the other day is he actually suggested something that gets players paid even more. He suggested TV revenue being distributed in a way to go to the players. And
Okay, so right now I want to make sure that everybody understands the TV revenue goes directly to the school. Okay,
so it goes to the conference, who distributes it evenly to the schools.
Right. So it goes directly to the school. So there are situations in which the school and Spire Sports could be potentially at odds because they're asking the same advertiser if they can get some cash. One's to support players, one's to build more facilities. In this particular situation, the players have not expressed any voice whatsoever in the TV money, but that's a whole lot of money that we have never discussed. I find it interesting that you brought that up and that Nick Saban brought that up. That would have been a really easy way for the NCAA to handle all of this and not have the NIL issue, is just to say a revenue sharing on TV money, make it 30%, 20%, 10%, negotiate however you want to do it. And you wouldn't have this free for all craziness that's going on now. Mark Emmert has to be sitting somewhere. Hashtag Mark Emmert. You should watch this. You could have saved your reputation as the president of the NCAA with the TV money alone. You could have made everybody happy. Nico would have never known that he could get $2 million a year. He would have been happy getting a couple of $100,000 off the TV money. And you could even stagger it as a start. You get more. You could do all kinds of things to make it more transparent. So I'm surprised that the players haven't seen that the TV money is something that they should go after, because right now they're not technically getting any cash money from the school. They're getting it from advertisers. Go get the TV money. I'm rooting for you. What say you on the message board, and what say you, Caleb?
Dave, you're right. And I'm starting to think, I have a theory on why the NCAA was so behind the curve on this. I think they purposely wanted to be sabotaged. They purposely wanted to say, this is what you want and this is what you got. And then they want Congress to step in and pass some sort of law that just allows them to rule with an iron fist again, unfairly. And so they're trying, I think they're, because you're right, the TV revenue is just such, first of all, we talked about this the other day, and we talked about it with Jimmy. College sports inherently are socialist because the football team and basketball team bring in the revenue, and that subsidizes the rest of the sports and the academics too, right? Mm-hmm. So, but most of that money that subsidizes those areas, they come from directly ticket sales, don't they? Not necessarily TV revenue.
that goes to where? Help me with that again.
But most of the money that subsidizes the other sports and the other academics comes from ticket sales. I feel like more than anything else.
I think the money goes into one big pile. But obviously you're going to realize where your bread's buttered, and you're going to feed the golden goose. So I would spend more money on football, but I don't know that it's directly tied.
What I mean is like the money so the worry of TV revenue going to players is that they wouldn't have the money to then subsidize other sports or academic programs because it's going.
Oh, so you're finding a way to better fence this in. This is what you're actually bringing to the university. Is that what you're doing with?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. No, I'm cool with that. But I'm cool.
My question to you is.
Go ahead.
My question to you is this: you're Tennessee. X amount of money comes from TV revenue, the SEC, right? Mm-hmm. You take that money and you divvy it up however you want. Are you concerned that if some of that money ends up going to the players, that's going to take away the money that you use to subsidize other sports and academic programs at the school?
I think if you're the university, you do not want this to happen, no matter what. Because no matter what, I don't care if you want to, they recently hired a new PR director. Tom Satkowiak left as the sports information director because they've hired this PR guy. Listen, if that's what you want to spend your money on that. But I'm not going to throw my money at something that's not generating revenue. I think it should be very capitalist. It should be the opposite of socialist. Nico brings more money to the sport than any softball player, than any crew member. And I'm not just picking women's sports. Please know that. Any track person in men's. I mean, it's just not even close. So to me, what you bring to the table, Caleb.
No, I'm not talking about what I'm not talking about what the athletes themselves are getting paid. I'm talking about keeping the sport afloat. Softball only exists because football pays for it to exist. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, but you could say the same thing for women's basketball.
And women's basketball. Fine. I don't care. Women's basketball, softball, all of them. They only exist because football pays for them to exist. Are you saying let those sports go under? Just get rid of them?
I'm saying they need to find a better way of doing business or go under.
But what if they can't? Like, again, this is the concept of college academics. Most college programs don't. Yeah, but you're going to take away scholarships for so many athletes that like college was their ticket out, who like don't have market value as players, but they get a scholarship that's a good thing for their future.
Wait, let me be clear. I'm not taking any scholarships away, but I'm not paying those players out of the TV money, be it.
I'm not talking about paying the players. I'm talking about having the sport exist. If you don't, if the football program doesn't pay for the sport goes under.
Let's say this, because we do budgets each and every month at our house. So if the bottom line is I've got to spend $100 to be in business, I'm going to make sure I spend that $100. So to me, that's having the crew team, that's having the track team. I don't really care as much how great they are. You want them to be good because if you're a Tennessee fan across the board, but I am going to, that's my baseline. Outside of that, if I bring in money from TV deals or whatever, I'm giving it to football players first.
Okay, so right now where's that money going at the moment?
I think I was over on campus. I'm over on campus a lot now that I live in Knoxville. It seems to be to build every single building they can possibly dream up. That's what it seems like.
So you think, okay, so you're saying, so this is the question, and this is and I'm with you on the TV revenue sharing, but we have to be very clear about this because we have to really hammer it down, almost as accountants, which we are not, me nor Dave. But if revenue goes to the football players from TV, it's going to have to come out of something else that it's going to right now. The question is, what will it come out of? So
stop building buildings all the time. If everybody across the board has to stop building, I mean, we're assuming this is not just Tennessee, this is everybody. So if the players get some of that money, well, then maybe they don't get their own barber shop.
So what you're saying is, at the very least, the other sports programs aren't going to be in danger that are being kept afloat by this.
Right. That is my bottom line budget that I will not dip into.
Okay,
but anything
fair
else,
enough.
okay, But here's where it gets goofy. Okay, if you go through an Alabama type run, you're unbeatable under my ploy, my plan, because I'm giving more money to football because they're bringing more money in, okay, with the TV money. And I'm giving more and more because the donations are good in other places. So this players union came up and they get 10% of the TV money. I'm giving that to them. I'm giving that to them, and it gets, and boom, and I'm going to give them more and more and more. So under my plan, if you build a dynasty, it's never going to be undone unless the coach leaves.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. It's you're probably right, but I would think that's what's going to be hit. See, this is where I'm going long term, Dave. This is crazy. I think the people that would be hit the most would be administrators, which let's just be honest. I feel like sometimes too many administrators are hired at schools. Is that fair to say?
Nah.
So I think administrators.
They had so many associate athletic directors that 3 looked exactly the same. I'm not joking, and I could not tell which one was which. I had it. It was like, hey, buddy. Hey,
I believe that.
Hey, scout. You had to call them everything else because I wasn't sure if that was Ron, Bob, or Carl because they were 3 associate athletic directors that looked the exact same.